Hey guys, what's going on? Jedrek Reporter. One more time. This time, I'm coming at you with the top 10 NFL draft picks as currently constituted. So there's no trades, no one's moving. It's picks 1 through 10 as they are. Team, player, why I think they're going to pick them. A little something just to keep your palates a little bit moist. Now, normally I jump right into this, but before we do, don't forget, guys, to like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel. Show us a little bit more, show us some love. You know what I mean? Share it. Try to grow the channel a little bit. But let's hop on into this. Number 1 pick, of course, everyone and their mama knew who it was gonna be. Joe Burrow, quarterback, LSU, Heisman Trophy winner. Man put up video game numbers his last year at LSU. I think it's one year is like the main as the guy, and he showed it. I mean, he's an obvious pick for the team. It's a new regime. They're building for the future. They want to have a quarterback that, and one thing that they never really did, and it kind of shocked me a little bit, because teams that win in that division typically have a quarterback who can play in cold weather conditions. Lamar has a strong arm. He can play in cold weather conditions. Big Ben, strong arm, can play in cold weather conditions. The one knock on Andy Dalton the entire time was, can he play in less than, let's say, great circumstances when it comes down to the weather? I never believed he could. Joe Burrow, with that arm strength, I believe can get that done. That's what we got right there. Number 1 pick, Joe Burrow. Number 2, this is going to the Washington Redskins. They're going to take the edge rusher from Ohio State, Chase Young. Chase Young, great motor, game changer, adds a defensive playmaker, something that is needed with that Redskins defense. They don't have that guy they can just count on and say, hey, we need a sack, or hey, we need to stop this run, or hey, they don't have that. Chase Young gives them that. Now, a lot of people are saying, hey, why not Tua at 2? Well, they still have a bunch of young quarterbacks, so you kind of let that play out. You don't really know what Dwayne Haskins has yet. It's only a very small sample size, so I say give Dwayne Haskins one more year. If that doesn't work out, then you move on to who's coming through, which if this team winds up tanking, which I don't believe the Redskins are a good football team, even with Chase Young. So with that being the case, they'll probably be picking a quarterback next year. My guess will probably be Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson. But moving on from there, number 3, the Lions are going to take a teammate of Chase Young. They're going to go ahead and take Jeff Okudah, DB, Ohio State. He replaces what they lose in free agency, which is a big thing. You never want to have a loss and then have that loss typify where you're going to be weak. They lost a corner, draft a corner. He's a playmaker, a potential shutdown corner. And for those of y'all who don't think that's important, take a look at the New England Patriots Super Bowl wins. They had lockdown corners. When you have a lockdown corner, you can take out a complete side of the field. That's what Dion used to do. Take out a complete side of the field. That's what's going to help them get that done. And also, that's also going to help them in their matchups against the Vikings and the Packers in the division. So that's a really big thing. You want to be able to, if you can't outscore an opponent, you want to make sure you can hold them to a considerable amount of points. So that way you're not having to compete in a realm that makes your team uncomfortable. Now, the Lions can clearly put the ball in the air. They never really have had a ground game pretty much since Barry Sanders, which for a lot of kids, that was the guy who wore number 20 for the Lions. A lot of you kids may not know that because you didn't see him play. Now, moving on, next pick is the Giants. They're going Jedrek Willis, tackle, Alabama. They need to help the young backfield and quarterback. I like what I saw out of Daniel Jones last year. I love Saquon. Saquon's one of my favorite backs. Love Saquon Barkley. They could have possibly gone wide receiver, but when you have a young quarterback, you have weapons already. You're kind of building that. You have Evan Ingram in there. So you have guys who can kind of carry that load offensively, can actually, Cash can move with the ball a little bit. So you have those guys. It addresses a serious concern. One of the reasons why Eli's last few years were really terrible is because the O-line was really terrible. And if the O-line's terrible, you can't really run the football all that well. So you got a workhorse running back. You have a quarterback that I do believe in. I believe in Daniel Jones at this moment. And this is a guy who will start immediately, begin to gel with the guys who are already there. So I can see a lot of these things really beginning to work out for this team. So we want to make sure that, so the Giants want to make sure they begin to shore up that O-line, because now they're one of the younger teams in their division. Before they were a little bit older. Now they're a lot younger. That could be a good move for them. Now, number 5, Miami Dolphins. Congratulations on getting a quarterback that this franchise can actually believe in. Since Dan Marino, we're going Tua, y'all. Tua, quarterback, Alabama, addresses that serious need, has great pocket presence. By far the best quarterback in the entire draft, to me, by talent. The best quarterback in the draft is Tua. He's a proven winner, has done it for multiple seasons. And on top of that, he's a quarterback. He did get hurt, and that's the one thing that really, it hurts. It truly does hurt that they're going to look at him and say, oh, his health is a concern. Well, guess what? Health was also a concern back in 2005. If you guys watched a video that I featured with Drew Brees in there, health was a concern there, and you see how that turned out for the New Orleans Saints. So you kind of play it how you got to play it. Now, he is by far the best quarterback prospect in this draft. So that means by arm talent, mobility, he's very Drew Brees-ish. And on top of that, he's a lefty. So that means as far as the O-line goes, they don't have to invest so much in a left tackle as much as they do a right tackle. And for a left-handed quarterback, it's a little bit easier in the pocket, just from how the pocket is constructed, how most defenses play right to left. So if you're a left-handed quarterback, you're reading left to right, which means you're gonna see more holes. You're gonna see a lot of Steve Young type of play. Not really Mike Vick. Mike Vick was the anomaly, but you're gonna see a lot of Steve Young. He's gonna remind you a lot of Steve Young. At least that's what I think. Now, getting into it, the back half of this top 10, Justin Herbert, quarterback, Oregon, going to the Chargers. It's a good prospect. May not play his first year, may sit, simply because they have a quarterback already there. They have Tyrod Taylor there. Tyrod is a really good bridging quarterback. He can get you from quarterback A to your next guy. He can get you from your number 1 to your next guy. He has a good arm. He's mobile and big. He's played, I think with that kind of size, you're able to play behind a bad O-line because you can take the hits. Now, does it hurt after time? Yes. But if you learn how to protect yourself, you can play for a lot longer. Like, I didn't think Big Ben would be playing up to this point because of the shots he was taking earlier in his career, but his body was able to take those blows because of his size. Justin Herbert has that same kind of size. Now, he could stand to be a little bit more fluid with his motions. He's extremely robotic on play action. He's extremely robotic. You can tell in dropbacks he's counting steps in many cases, so he's extremely robotic. But these are things that can actually help him. And one of the things that does hurt when you are robotic is that you tend to struggle when things break down. And if anyone's watched the LA Chargers in the last 2 seasons, their big weak point, outside of kicker, of course, has been the O-line. But they also were long in the tooth at quarterback, so letting go of Phillip Rivers. They're going to go Justin Herbert. Should be the starter by the end of this season, if not beginning of next year. Number 7, Panthers. They are finally going to do what I were hoping they were going to do the last few years. Take a tackle in this draft. They're going to do that. They're going to take Tristan Wirfs, offensive tackle out of Iowa. He is a must-have for this team who just paid a running back to be their franchise player, and Christian McCaffrey, in that obscene deal he signed. So they're definitely going to have to protect him. And also with Teddy Bridgewater, they saw what the success that he had in New Orleans, where most of it came from, let's run the ball, let's protect the ball, let's protect our quarterback and give him a little time. It's the same thing that Minnesota did when they had Teddy B. Same thing you saw New Orleans do. You give Teddy Bridgewater time, he gives you winning results. And that's what Carolina wants. They know where their bread is butter. It's running the ball, and they're going to get a lot of that out of Christian McCaffrey. They're going to get a lot of small passes out of Christian McCaffrey. And how you do that, how you run stretch plays, how you get the ball to the outside of the defense, you have to have tackles that can move. This is a tackle. that can move. He can protect the blind side. I believe he can get that done. That's why we're going right there with the pick for the Panthers, number 7, offensive tackle out of Iowa. Now, here's a really good pick, and I think this pick is going to wind up being not really the steal of the draft, but a lot of people are shocked that he probably will fall this far, given the fact that he is a legit playmaker. And this is going to be number 8. The Arizona Cardinals are going to be selecting Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver, Alabama. He'll basically be replacing Larry Fitzgerald when he retires. He can run the entire route tree, has proven he can get separation, and can do it against the nation's elite defensive backs. So he can prove it in college. And one thing I'm gonna honestly just go on a limb and say, I'll trust the Alabama wide receiver. I'm trusting it. I'm trusting the Alabama wide receiver. I'm just gonna go out there on a limb and do that. That's just legit what it is. He's a legit number 1 option. A can't miss prospect. I see a lot of Julio in his play. If you can go ahead and get that done, Arizona, take Jerry Jeudy, pair him up with a very young quarterback, make it happen. Get it done. Jerry Jeudy, number 8, Arizona Cardinals. Number 9, Jacksonville is going to take a defensive tackle, Derek Brown from Auburn. Has a great motor. He's a Ndamukong Suh kind of guy. He's going to gun it the entire time. He has great size, can really plug the gap. With it, given the fact he's such a big guy, he's going to eat up blocks, so you can really see him thriving in a 3-4 defense, eating up blocks, taking up a lot of space. Now, one thing he's going to need to work on is his balance when doing certain moves. He saw a little bit of off balance when he would use a punch move or a strip move. He would lose a little bit of his balance, and in that case, lose a little bit of the momentum and speed that he was able to gather. Now, since he is a larger guy, getting that speed back is going to be a huge problem mid-play. So, plugging the blocks, making sure that he is disciplined enough to use the proper moves to be able to continue to plug a block to make room for the linebackers. That's really the true job of that position. We want to be able to plug. Now, next up, pick number 10, rounding it out. Cleveland Browns, Mekhi Becton, offensive tackle, Louisville. Should help Baker Mayfield be able to deliver the football, buy him some more time, and also give Baker a chance to use his athleticism. I can see that being a really big thing for him, being able to get out of the pocket, move around, scatter, make some plays. And also, it really helps him out. I mean, they have a terrible line. That was the major weakness of this team, was the offensive line. Major weakness, they address that, they get that done. I'm very glad they're getting that done, because you really need that ability to move. And if you're a quarterback, you need time to get rid of the ball. There was a 10-win ball club last year in Cleveland that struggled mightily offensively, and that shouldn't have been the case for all the playmakers, but you can have all the playmakers you want. If you have a terrible line, your team is not going to perform well offensively. So they're probably going to go offensive tackle, and I got them taking Mekhi Becton out of Louisville. Now, guys, you let me know what you think down in the comment section below. If one of your favorite teams is one of these 10 teams picking, or if you want to round up the rest of the first round, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Also, do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We're going to be trying to pump out some more videos for you, keeping you entertained during this lockdown. But my name is Jedrek Reporter, signing out. Peace.